Maitreya, often referred to as the future Buddha, holds a significant place in Buddhist eschatology. According to various Buddhist traditions, Maitreya is prophesied to be the successor to the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, and is destined to come to earth, achieve enlightenment, and teach the pure Dharma. This prophecy is deeply rooted in the belief that Maitreya's arrival will herald a new era of spiritual renewal and enlightenment, restoring the Dharma that has declined over time. The concept of Maitreya emerges in numerous Buddhist texts, where he is described as residing in the Tushita heaven, awaiting the right time to descend to the human realm. This descent is believed to occur when the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha have been forgotten or corrupted, and the world is in need of a new spiritual guide to lead beings back to the path of enlightenment. Analyzing the prophecy of Maitreya through various triadic relationships offers a structured way to understand the interconnected elements of his coming, his teachings, and the resulting enlightenment. By examining these relationships in the context of scriptural quotes, we gain deeper insights into how Maitreya's prophecy is envisioned to unfold and impact the world. In the Maitreya Bodhisattva Sutra, the prophecy of Maitreya is described as the future Buddha descending from the Tushita heaven to the human realm to achieve Buddhahood. The sutra states, "When Maitreya descends to earth, he will teach the pure Dharma." This underscores the coexistence of Maitreya, the Dharma, and enlightenment. Maitreya's arrival on earth brings the pure Dharma to the people, and those who hear and practice Maitreya's teachings will attain enlightenment. The presence of Maitreya, the pure teachings he brings, and the enlightenment of beings are interdependent and coexist in a harmonious triad. The prophecy thus illustrates that Maitreya's presence and teachings are inseparable from the resulting enlightenment of beings, creating a balanced state where all three elements support and affirm each other. The quote, "The arrival of Maitreya will mark the beginning of a new era of enlightenment," emphasizes the interconnectedness and mutual coexistence of these elements. The Mahasamnipata Sutra highlights the equilibrium state before and after the arrival of Maitreya. This sutra talks about a period of moral and spiritual decline where the Dharma is forgotten and enlightenment becomes rare. In this state of equilibrium, the absence of Maitreya corresponds to the absence of pure Dharma, and without the Dharma, beings cannot attain enlightenment. The sutra states, "Without Maitreya, the world will continue to experience the decline of the Dharma. Therefore, the absence of Maitreya leads to a continued absence of enlightenment." The equilibrium described in the prophecy underscores that the restoration of Dharma and enlightenment hinges on Maitreya's arrival. The balance between the absence of Maitreya, the pure Dharma, and enlightenment is maintained until his prophesied arrival breaks the cycle, bringing about a new equilibrium of spiritual renewal. This is further emphasized by, "In the absence of pure Dharma, beings will not attain enlightenment," illustrating the interconnected balance of these states. The Kakavati Siyanada Sutta provides a clear example of the reinforcement triad in the context of Maitreya's prophecy. This sutra describes how Maitreya will descend to earth to restore the pure Dharma and lead beings to enlightenment. It states, "Maitreya will teach the Dharma that has been forgotten," emphasizing his role in reinstating the Dharma. Maitreya's teachings ensure that the Dharma will guide people toward enlightenment, with the sutra noting, "His teachings will lead beings to enlightenment." The achievement of enlightenment among beings, in turn, reinforces and validates Maitreya's role and mission as the future Buddha, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. This is further illustrated by, "The enlightenment of beings will affirm Maitreya's role as the future Buddha." The reinforcement triad thus portrays a dynamic and mutually strengthening relationship between Maitreya, his teachings, and the enlightenment of beings. The Anagatavamsa describes the conditions leading to Maitreya's coming and exemplifies the feedback triad. According to this text, Maitreya's arrival is necessitated by a period of spiritual degeneration where the pure Dharma is forgotten and enlightenment becomes rare. It states, "If the pure Dharma is not lost, Maitreya's coming is not necessary," indicating that Maitreya's mission responds to the absence of pure Dharma. Without enlightenment, the recognition and practice of pure dharma diminish, further necessitating Maitreya's role. As the text notes, without enlightenment, the pure dharma is not recognized or practiced. Conversely, without Maitreya, the continued absence of enlightenment perpetuates. This feedback mechanism ensures that the arrival of Maitreya is a response to the lack of dharma and enlightenment, creating a cycle where each element influences the other. The quote, "Without Maitreya, beings remain unenlightened," highlights the interdependency between Maitreya's arrival, the restoration of dharma, and the attainment of enlightenment. The Saddharma Pundarika, Lotus Sutra, contains predictions from Shakyamuni Buddha about Maitreya's future role, showcasing the causal triad. In this prophecy, Maitreya is destined to achieve Buddhahood and teach the pure Dharma. The sutra states, Maitreya will teach the true Dharma after achieving Buddhahood, highlighting the direct causality of Maitreya's teachings. The causal relationship here is clear. Maitreya's enlightenment and subsequent teachings lead to the widespread practice of the pure Dharma. This practice of Dharma, in turn, leads to the enlightenment of beings. The text further notes, practicing this true Dharma will lead to enlightenment. The absence of Maitreya means that these teachings and the resulting enlightenment cannot occur as stated. Without Maitreya's teachings, enlightenment is not achievable. The causal triad emphasizes that Maitreya's role as a teacher of pure Dharma is the direct cause of the ensuing enlightenment, linking his presence, teachings, and the enlightenment of beings in a straightforward cause and effect relationship. The Vimalakirti Sutra presents Maitreya in debates and discussions, symbolizing his future role and aligning with the Reversion Triad. This sutra illustrates that the absence of the pure Dharma and subsequent decline in spiritual understanding necessitate Maitreya's future intervention. It states, without the decline of pure Dharma, Maitreya's descent is unnecessary. Without enlightenment, the pure Dharma cannot flourish, highlighting a reversion relationship where spiritual degeneration points back to the need for Maitreya's teachings. The sutra further explains, without enlightenment, the pure Dharma cannot thrive. Conversely, the attainment of enlightenment signifies Maitreya's effective presence and teaching. The Reversion Triad in this context underscores that Maitreya's role is to reverse the decline of Dharma and enlightenment. The presence of enlightenment confirms Maitreya's successful intervention, showing a cyclical return to a state where Maitreya's teachings restore balance and spiritual prosperity. This is captured in the quote, "The new era of enlightenment heralds the presence of Maitreya." The prophecy of Maitreya, as outlined in various Buddhist scriptures, speaks of a future Buddha who will appear during a time of moral and spiritual decline to restore the Dharma and guide beings towards enlightenment. Examining contemporary global circumstances, we can identify several parallels that suggest the conditions prophesied for Maitreya's arrival are manifesting in our world today. The Mahasamnipata Sutra describes a world in decline where the Dharma is forgotten and enlightenment becomes rare. In our modern context, we observe increasing materialism, ethical relativism, and a sense of spiritual disconnection among many people. The widespread focus on consumerism and immediate gratification often overshadows deeper spiritual pursuits and ethical considerations. This mirrors the sutra's depiction of a world in need of spiritual renewal and hints at the conditions that necessitate Maitreya's arrival. While not explicitly mentioned in ancient texts, the rapid technological advancements of today can be seen as a double-edged sword. On one hand, technology has the potential to spread the Dharma widely, facilitating global access to spiritual teachings. On the other hand, the overwhelming influx of information can lead to confusion and misinformation, contributing to the spiritual disorientation described in the Anagatavamsa. This feedback loop of misinformation and spiritual longing further echoes the prophecy's conditions. The modern environmental crisis parallels the Kakavati Sihanada Sutta's description of societal decline. As our planet faces unprecedented ecological challenges, there is a growing recognition of the need for a transformative shift in human consciousness and behavior. This crisis underscores the interconnectedness of all life and highlights the necessity for teachings that promote compassion, sustainability, and harmony with nature. Principles central to the Dharma, Maitreya is prophesied to restore. The current global landscape is marked by political instability, social unrest, and widespread conflict. This state of turmoil reflects the prophecy's portrayal of a world in need of spiritual leadership and ethical guidance. The Saddharma Pundarika, Lotus Sutra, speaks of Maitreya teaching the true Dharma to bring peace and enlightenment. The increasing desire for global peace and justice today indicates a collective readiness for such teachings. Despite the apparent moral and spiritual decline, there is a growing revival of interest in spirituality and mindfulness practices worldwide. This trend aligns with the Vimalakirti Sutra's indication of a renewed interest in the Dharma preceding Maitreya's arrival. Many people are seeking deeper meaning and connection, turning to ancient wisdom and spiritual traditions for guidance, which sets the stage for the transformative teachings of Maitreya. The unprecedented level of global connectivity we experience today allows for the rapid dissemination of ideas and spiritual teachings. This mirrors the prophecy's vision of Maitreya's teachings, reaching a vast audience. The ability to share the Dharma globally, via the internet and other media platforms, aligns with the Maitreya Bodhisattva Sutra's promise of widespread enlightenment through Maitreya's teachings. The prophecy of Maitreya's arrival during a time of moral and spiritual decline finds striking parallels in our modern world. The current environmental crisis, technological advancements, global unrest, and a renewed interest in spirituality all echo the conditions described in the ancient texts. These factors suggest that the world is poised for the transformative teachings of Maitreya, who will restore the pure Dharma and guide beings towards enlightenment. As we recognize these parallels, the prophecy of Maitreya becomes not just a distant future event, but a relevant and imminent possibility, urging us to prepare for and embrace the spiritual renewal that his arrival promises.